When the Lakers acquired Luka Doncic in a trade at this past year's deadline, a trade that shocked the NBA world and was arguably the most shocking trade in NBA history, the thought, of course, behind it was that this was the Lakers' move for the future in a post-LeBron James world, because as great as LeBron still is, they knew his retirement, his time with the team was eventually going to be coming to an end. And up until that point, the post-LeBron era of the Lakers looked rather bleak, with an aging and injury-prone Anthony Davis and a bunch of role players to fill out the roster and limited draft capital to work with for the future. Getting Luka, that was their ticket to continue building on their global brand and landing their next franchise player to build around with to win titles. And while no one will deny that the Mavs executed a horrible trade in terms of what they received in return for one of the greatest players in the league, and the Lakers once again fell ass backwards and were gifted yet another megastar. But what if I told you there is a real world where Luka leaves the Lakers next summer, and the biggest fleecing of a trade was all for naught? Let's talk about it. Be sure to subscribe if you like this type of content. Help the channel get to 100,000 subscribers. I would very much appreciate it. Now, the Lakers' offseason thus far has been strange, to say the least. And when I say that, the odd nature of their offseason really stems from LeBron James and how him and his camp have handled things as it relates to his future with the team. LeBron, of course, exercised his player option on his deal, which is the first time in his career he's opted into any player option he's had in the past, as he usually opts out and re-ups for more money. But LeBron opting into his deal is significant. One, because it's a lot of money at $52.6 million, whereas he could have declined that player option and opted to take less to give the Lakers more financial flexibility in using the full mid-level exception to bring in more talent to help compete for a championship. But also, by LeBron opting in, it not only puts the Lakers in a bind, but it now enables him to control where he wants to be traded as he maintains his no trade clause, and makes it easier for him to potentially go to another contender rather than hitting this year's free agency market, which has been non-existent, especially for those contending teams who do not have the cap space to sign him. Now, good luck to LeBron and the Lakers trying to find a trade partner for him willing to take on his expiring $52 million deal for a 40-year-old who could very well be playing his last season in the NBA, but the point is, he'll have more options while also maintaining his max salary. But where things have gotten a little messy is when LeBron's agent Rich Paul came out with a statement that they want to evaluate what's best for LeBron at this stage in his life and career, acknowledging that the team is trying to balance between winning now and preparing for the future, and that LeBron values a realistic chance at winning it all. He then further went on to say that there is uncertainty on LeBron's end about the roster, the Lakers roster, going forward going into the season, which, to be fair to LeBron, he's not wrong. I think most would argue that the Lakers as currently constructed are simply not good enough to compete in a stacked Western Conference and win a championship. But at the same time, it's also ironic for LeBron to be making these claims when the Lakers were gifted Luka Doncic, and he put the team in a position that makes it more difficult to add talent on the margins by opting into his deal. And yes, it is entirely possible that this is all just a leverage play by Rich Paul and LeBron James to put pressure on the front office to do everything in their power to push to win a title this season. But while this has worked for LeBron in the past, where he's been able to pressure front offices and ownership to do what he wants and make moves that favor him, and the team would happily oblige because he's LeBron James, the greatest player in the NBA, and whatever he wants, you make it happen, LeBron's not going to have that kind of power and influence anymore. Something that has already been apparent in the Lakers franchise, where they are clearly prioritizing Luka Doncic over him. And because things aren't going to go exactly LeBron's way, and because Lakers, quite frankly, don't have the pieces to truly win a championship this season, for the first time in LeBron's career, it's not going to be about him. And because of all this, I firmly believe this will be LeBron's last season with the Lakers, and I would not be shocked if he gets moved at some point during the season when it's clear that this roster isn't it. But this video isn't about LeBron, even though I know I've been ranting about it for a little bit, but LeBron's future, what he does, has implications on Luka's future with the Lakers. Because for the most part, ever since that trade happened, the talk has been, well, this is the Lakers' next chapter. Luka is the Lakers' next chapter. The assumption has been it's a foregone conclusion that Luka is going to be here for the long haul. But if LeBron is gone next season, whether it be going to another team or he just retires, what is then left for Luka Doncic? The expiring contracts of Austin Reeves, who will likely decline his player option anyway and will be an unrestricted free agent next summer, Jared Vanderbilt, Rui Hachimura, DeAndre Ayton, Dalton Knecht. Does that make Luka excited about this team's future? Now, yes, the Lakers as of right now are projected to have a fair amount of cap space available to them in 2026, with the contracts of Hachimura expiring, Gabe Vincent, Maxi Kleber, those expiring as well, but we also know free agency isn't what it used to be. Most teams are re-upping with their star free agents or executing trades if they're not re-signing them. The days of a bunch of big names being available on the free agent market are long gone, when it makes more financial sense to retain your star players and using their bird rights to be able to operate over the cap, and if it doesn't work out with them, to just trade them down the line. So I don't really buy this notion that the Lakers are going to sign a bunch of stars in 2026 because they're going to have the money to do so, because most of the big name free agents in 2026 will be more than likely signing extensions with their teams, and by the time free agency does in fact roll around next summer, it's going to be a limited pool of talent for players that you can sign to your roster. And so the next natural place that one would move to about how to improve the Lakers roster post LeBron if free agency isn't all that it's cracked up to be, trades. The Lakers can trade for a superstar, right? You've seen people say the Lakers can make a push to trade for Giannis. That's always a fun one. Could they maybe make a big swing at Anthony Edwards if things don't work out in Minnesota? Banchero if their core doesn't work out, or better yet, Nikola Jokic, given the Nuggets are now under a closing championship window. Yeah, the problem though with the Lakers making any type of trades, at least of that magnitude, is one, finding the outgoing salary to make a deal like that work if you're not trading Luka, who is your biggest salary player, but more importantly, to get any star level player in this league, hell, these days even just high level role players, to pry them away from their current teams, you have to have draft picks, multiple picks to even entice a team to want to consider moving on from their star. And the problem for the Lakers is they only have one tradable first round pick at their disposal, either in 2031 or 2032, but not both because of the Stepien rule, and just one second round pick, also in 2032. That isn't getting you Giannis or Jokic. At this rate, it's not even getting you a player like Tyler Hero or Kobe White. And no, teams are not going to make the same mistake the Mavs did where they just give up their superstar for one first round pick. The Lakers aren't pulling off that again, in large part because they don't have the luxury of including a player like Anthony Davis to make the money work, but also giving this false sense of hope of AD being a superstar level player. No one is taking Austin Reeves, Jared Vanderbilt, and a first round pick for a guy like Giannis, where the Bucks could easily get considerably more for him on the open market. And so if I'm Luka, I'm looking around at the state of this roster and asking myself if they have the ability to make meaningful changes, meaningful upgrades that I can work with, whether that be through free agency, trades, or the draft. And if I'm not seeing it, and there's just a good chance that I could waste away a number of my prime years while this team tries to figure it out, then I'm not doing it. I'm not going to stay here. In that instance, Luka most certainly should not sign an extension this summer, which he will be eligible for an extension in August. You give it a year, see how the season plays out, see if there is a vision, a clear path to winning both for the near and long-term future. And if by the end of the season he's still not seeing it, then I absolutely would not be surprised if Luka declines the final year of his deal for the 26-27 season, opts to become an unrestricted free agent, and walks to go to another team in free agency, a team where he can see that he has a shot at competing for multiple championships, a team where he can maximize his prime years and add to his legacy. And if I'm being honest, I really don't see a path for him to be able to achieve that with the Lakers based on the current construction of the roster, the uncertain future of LeBron James, and what the post-LeBron era looks like, and the draft capital the team has at their disposal. I just don't see it being enticing enough of an option for Luka to definitively say that he wants to be there long-term, especially when he didn't choose to come to LA and was blindsided by the trade himself. And if Luka has the ability to decline his option, test free agency in 2026 to secure an even bigger bag for the long term, I could see a scenario in which he signs with another team rather than re-signing with the Lakers, despite the fact that the Lakers can give him a little more money. As one of the biggest superstars in the league, if you don't see a viable option of contending for the foreseeable future, then you get out ahead of it and put yourself in the best position to win, especially when you're still in your prime years. But just my take on the matter. I would love to hear what you guys think. You let me know in the comments. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.